Last year, September 19th, it was my birthday, and it was also the day that I decided to post my very first YouTube video after deciding to commit to being consistent with it and just to see where YouTube could take me after a year-long period. And in that year's time, I made 50 videos, so almost one a week. I gave myself a couple of weeks break there. And in that time, I also grew from 0 to 56,000 subscribers, which is a number that blows my mind to this day. And in this time period, it's been a crazy ride, ups and downs. And I have learned so much about YouTube as a platform, about talking to camera and setups and a whole bunch of different things that I would love to share with you guys in this video. But before we get into that, if you are not new here, I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for watching me if you've been subscribed to the channel in the past year. It is really, your encouragement and your comments and your DMs and your likes that really propel me forward to let me know that what I'm doing is the right thing and to encourage me to keep going on. And, it's been a crazy journey because at the start, I was really not sure whether I would find the personal growth that I was looking for on this platform, but it's all of your encouragement that really enabled me to let me know that this is the right thing to be doing and just to keep going. So thank you so much. And I can't wait for what year 2 of YouTube for me looks like. All right, so let's start this whole video with the account growth and exactly what happened to my channel, and then we can go into a little bit more of the specifics after that. So starting from nothing is so hard and so humbling, but treating YouTube like an experiment, I think, was a really good approach because it allowed me a lot of time to play around with new things like format and message and try and find my groove without any of the pressure of the numbers or social pressure or anything like that. But for 8 months, my first 8 months, I had close to 0 traction. I had close to no one watching me, and it was really disheartening in some degree, because you put all this work and this effort into something you really like and put out into the world, and it doesn't get received very well or received at all. And it is a very humbling experience to go through that, but I think it was really good for me to go through. During this time, I was just trying a whole bunch of different things, a whole bunch of different themes, and trying to find the delta between what I liked making and what was received well on YouTube at the same time. Like what is the confluence of those two, and what style of videos would that look like? I think that was the biggest question in my mind at the time. And then, I kept on making videos, and then in April, so not that long ago, I had my first hit. I had my first little break, and it was a Adobe Lightroom calibration tutorial video. And in that 1 month, I gained around 200,000 views and 9,000 subscribers. And that's kind of where everything started to get rolling. From there, 6,700 subscribers in the following month, and then 5,600, and then a few other popular videos which pushed the channel to another 9,500, and then over 10,000 in the last month. So it's only within the last 5 months that I really gained the majority of my audience on this channel. And while that's great, and I'm really happy and honored to be able to share my messages with all of you guys now, it was really those 8 months of pushing through and talking to no one that really got me here, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. So with this video, I wanted to condense down all of the ideas into a little bit more of a digestible, point format, just so that it's a little bit more understandable. So I will go through 2 of the big key takeaways that I've learned over the year, and then after that, I'll illustrate a couple of the smaller ones that I thought were also really helpful as well. So the 2 big key takeaways. The first one is that the idea is everything. So this is one that I struggle with, admittedly. And what I've come to realize is that the idea, the topic, the subject, whatever you're talking about in the video is the biggest thing that determines the overall ceiling of how many people will potentially watch your video. And what I've found is that the more universal your topic, the more potential people you could be reaching. But at the same time, there's probably also a whole bunch of other people who have made videos about the same thing, and the more chance that your video can also just get lost in the abyss of other videos and just doesn't get seen. And it's been interesting. I've been developing a kind of knack for which videos perform well, and I think you get this over enough periods of time and enough videos published, but I've been getting a little bit of a knack for what I think will perform well and what won't perform well. And it's been an interesting battle because, you know, there are all of these topics that I want to talk about, and some are more popular than others, and I want to make everything. And there's a whole bunch of different topics that I'm really passionate about that I know won't get views, but I also want to keep my integrity and my dignity as, you know, a creator intact as well. And so I've been making them, and this is really evident in, you know, videos like Why I Love Japan, which is probably my favorite video that I've made to date. And it was also one of my earlier videos as well. Or talking about what my goals are, or talking about my experiences starring in a commercial, or, you know, doing a visual essay on finding your why and so on. And for me, it's been interesting because finding out this idea of what works and what doesn't, but also balancing that with like my own creative dignity and the things that I want to talk about has been this internal battle that I find really interesting, because I don't want to go down the path of just making things that I know are going to work constantly over and over and over and over again. I don't want to be that guy. I want to talk about the things that I want to talk about, and I want this channel to, you know, be a channel and a community of people who think like I do and who want, you know, experiences of life similar to what I want. And so, you know, it's been a fun ride, but yeah, there's definitely this idea that the topic that you talk about has repercussions, and there's definitely different ways to approach whether something is mainstream or whether something is a little bit more niche down. Okay, so the next thing, consistency. Okay, this is going to sound a little bit egotistical, but I'm very, very sensitive to the influence that I have on the people around me. So friends, acquaintances, etc. When I do something, and when someone around me does that thing or does something similar at the same time or at a similar time, I notice. I don't often say anything, but I assure you, I notice. And when I started YouTube last year, within the first 6 months or so, I noticed like half a dozen of the people around me, my friends and acquaintances, who also started their YouTube channels as well. And I thought that was actually fantastic. Like I love that. And there's more than enough space for all of us on this platform, and it's really, really good to have friends to talk shop with and to share experiences with, and, you know, because they're all going on the same journey that you are. But the majority of them, after posting, you know, maybe a couple of videos or sticking to it for a couple of weeks, they all stopped, and subsequently their growth stopped as well, and that sucks. And I think one of the reasons why I got the traction that I got, and, you know, I'm not saying it's a lot or anything, but I am 100% very grateful for it, is that I spent 8 months talking to no one, pretty much. I spent 8 months every single week making a new video, you know, posting it. But that gave me the opportunity to keep refining my videos, refining my style, refining my scripts, refining the quality of the video over time. And I learned so much through that process that eventually I got a little bit of a break. And it's funny, I get these questions all the time. You know, how do I grow my Instagram account? Or how do I get more subs on YouTube? Or how do I make more money in my business? And the answer is always the same. The maximum to success is always consistent quality as often as you can. Consistent quality as often as you can. This maxim is something that's repeatable, not just in social media, not just in YouTube, but in every area of life. consistency, consistent quality is, in my opinion, like the biggest differentiator between someone who is successful and someone who isn't. And now I'm talking about things that like are outside of just YouTube, right? I'm talking about like business. I'm talking about your craft. I'm talking about, you know, the pursuit of mastery. I'm talking about your relationships. I'm talking about your finances, whatever the case may be. It is this constant showing up and constantly giving your all over a long enough period of time that is the biggest differentiator between whether someone is successful and someone is not. You know, no one's gonna reward you for just a few weeks of hard work. And I think this is as apparent on YouTube as it is anywhere else in social media and in life in general. All right, that last bit got a little bit ranty, but here's some other small things that I've also learned on my journey in this past year. All right, so talking to camera. Now, talking to camera doesn't come naturally to most people, and it takes quite a few videos to keep, I guess, reviewing yourself over time to see what verbal tics you have or visual tics you have, or how you are presenting yourself to camera and a whole bunch of other different kind of stuff. And honestly, the only real way to get better at this is to keep publishing. And I say publishing specifically, I don't mean just like you make the video and it sits on your hard drive forever. I mean publish. I mean keep yourself accountable to doing the best that you can and presenting that in a way where you're ready to show that to the world. There is something about the act of publishing that's very final, that makes you push yourself with every single new video. And every single new video is a chance for you to learn and to review and to get better. So keep publishing, publish. So when it comes to my videos and specifically trying to analyze them to get better, I am looking at two things. I'm looking at verbal tics and I'm looking at eye contact. So verbal tics, if you don't know already, are little things that you say unconsciously to, I guess, fill in the gaps when like you're thinking about something. So a lot of the times people will say or ah, or some people will say like a lot. For me personally, I say right at the end of a sentence quite often, and I say, you know, like really, really fast at the start of a sentence, you know, like that. This is so meta for me, and I'm trying so hard not to add these visual tics, but it's really difficult and I'm still trying. But that's definitely something you will have to go through if you're trying to make videos yourself. So the other thing I work on when I'm trying to analyze my videos is eye contact. So for me personally, I find it super awkward to stare directly into the lens for the entirety of the video and not break eye contact at all. I find it really creepy, and I don't know, there's just something about, for me personally, like I don't do that in real life when I'm having a conversation with someone, right? I don't stare into the depths of their soul for the entire conversation. I deliberately break eye contact because I feel it's awkward. But at the same time, especially for video, I break eye contact so that I can give the idea time to breathe, so that I can accentuate the point that I'm trying to make a little bit. So there's purpose for me actually breaking eye contact. But sometimes I break eye contact too often. And usually when I do that, it's because of the next point, which is scripting. So when it comes to scripting, unless it's a vlog, I'm usually scripting everything that I'm talking about. And when I say scripting, over the past year, I've tried a whole bunch of different methods of scripting and trying to work out what works for me. So I've done approaches where I write everything out word for word in like a blog style article, and then trying to recite that to camera, which is very difficult for me personally. I've tried just dot pointing all the things that I want to talk about in, very rough dot points. I've tried even rougher, just headline points. And what I've found that works best for me, especially over these last couple of months, is I'll actually spend a couple of hours writing the entire thing word for word in like a kind of blog article-y type way, but then I'll actually not use that at all. And I will instead use the dot points from that as the script when I'm talking to camera, so that I can just peer over. In this case, my notes are right there. So when I'm looking this way, I'm looking at my notes, just to prod and to poke myself and to make sure that I am directing this script in the way that I want to direct it in, and that I'm covering all the points that I want to cover. So it means that most of the time I have to do every single segment multiple times. So in this particular segment where I'm talking about scripting, this is my 4th take of doing this entire thing, because sometimes I'll miss things. Sometimes I will, skip a dot point by accident, or like it'll be too small and I can't read it or whatever. But I feel like this way it feels a lot less rigid, and I can still get a cohesive idea out to camera whilst making it feel a lot more natural. Okay, so something else I want to talk about is your production value. And this is interesting for me personally, because I, in my personal life, am a huge technologist. I'm a huge tech nerd. I love stuff. I love gear, even though I know that it doesn't make a difference. Especially you've probably heard me, if you have been watching the channel for a while, that the gear doesn't matter. And for me personally, like from the majority of the people that I'm talking to, the gear doesn't matter until it does. But majoritively, you don't need a lot of expensive things to get started. And it's interesting because I've been on this year-long journey, right? And now I've got this giant ass softbox here. I've got this really expensive monitor that I'm looking at myself on. I've got a $10,000 camera setup that I'm filming on. I've got all of these nice backgrounds and TVs and this expensive microphone and all these different things. And not once has anyone in this entire year commented on what my set really looks like, or what my production value is, or any of this stuff. No one cares. It's funny because you can get away with just using your phone and maybe a $100 USB mic or a $100 shotgun mic or something like that. Maybe sit next to your window, and then that's it. That's all you need. That's all you need to get a YouTube video out, because again, it's all about the idea. So if you are looking to get into YouTube, don't let the gear stop you, because you don't need that much to get started. The biggest thing I would say is the audio. Funnily enough, people can deal with shitty video, but people can't deal with shitty audio. So make sure that at least if you're going to upgrade anything, it's your mics first. Okay, so the last thing I want to share with you guys is this idea of staying true to you. So this is something that stopped me from starting YouTube originally in the first place. I originally wanted to start YouTube in 2016, and then I wanted to start again in 2018, to the point where in 2018 I made like a series of vlogs that I was going to publish, but then this wave of anxiety hit me, and this mentality shift happened in me where I was thinking, I wasn't peppy enough. I wasn't charismatic enough in front of camera. I wasn't, gregarious enough. I didn't have enough camera presence. I had this very limiting mindset that prohibited me from getting started in YouTube. And in hindsight, that was dumb. I mean, it's funny because last year, I finally got to the point where I realized, hey, there are so many people on YouTube that in my particular case are, way more low energy than I am. And so why am I thinking this limiting belief of, I have to be this kind of person in order to be on YouTube, to be successful on YouTube? It's just simply not true. In fact, the opposite is true. Being yourself is the key. Being and showing your uniqueness is always the key to your success. And it's funny because the uniqueness that you have doesn't matter what industry or category you are making videos in. Your uniqueness alone is enough for you to propel yourself. There is an audience for you, and it's very likely that you're going to go into an industry or a category that is completely saturated. I know that's very true for me. The photography and travel niche on YouTube is just, and creator culture is just there's so many people on here, right? But the thing that separates everyone is their uniqueness, and harnessing that uniqueness and harnessing you and showing that to camera and showing that in your videos is the key to your success on this platform, I feel. And when I realized that, that was so liberating. The fact that I don't have to be this bubbly, gregarious Peter McKinnon, or I don't have to be this very thoughtful, methodical, philosophical Sean Tucker, right? I don't have to be these people. I can just be Pat K, and I can just be me. And that for me was incredibly liberating to finally realize. And so if you are looking at starting YouTube as well, and you have this anxiety about not having the camera presence that you see on YouTube, just remember that your camera presence is something that you can work on 100%, but it is also that your uniqueness, your perspective on things is the thing that's going to propel your channel forward. And so harness that and double down on that, and you'll eventually find that to be true, and you'll find liberation in that. Okay, that's it for the big blocks of the concepts, I guess, that I've learned over this past year of being on YouTube. I've learned a whole bunch of other stuff, but these are the bigger, broad brushstrokes of things that I really focused on. So if you've made it till the end of the video, I just wanted to say thank you, because you're probably a person who has subscribed in, the last year of me on this journey. And, I'm so grateful for you guys for watching my channel and for, enjoying the content, because I know that there are so many other channels out there that have been in the YouTube game for so much longer and haven't seen as much growth as I have. And so, I'm so grateful that I've had this growth, this little growth that I've received, and I'm so grateful for that. So again, thank you guys so much. And I'm really excited to move forward into the second year of me being on YouTube and seeing where the content ends up taking me. The last couple of months for me have been all about lockdown, and so it's a lot of talking to head, a lot of educational type stuff, and I haven't been out vlogging or experiencing the world. But when the world opens up, I've been thinking about what kind of content do I want to make, especially when I go back to Japan, and what is the fusion of exploring Japan in a vlog style and trying to give you guys value and trying to educate you at the same time. And what does that look like? And I've been thinking and have a couple of ideas on that. So hopefully I'll be able to present that well when we're all able to travel again. So yeah, that's it. I wanted to say thank you again. I'll see you in the next video. But until then, get out there and make something that matters. Peace.